promised yesterday, I will be doing a character discussion on Roronoa Zoro. Ironically enough, this is the day I'm actually heading back to the gym. Last week, I just took a week-long break on working out, so felt like it would be appropriate to talk about the main guy that, well, let's just be honest, kind of influenced a lot of people's, tastes on working out. A man that we all see who trains hard, really, really hard to become the world's greatest swordsman. It's something that, honestly, ironically enough, kind of helped me get back into working out more and more here and there. I mean, there's also, for a lot of people point to either Zoro, they point to Vegeta, they point to Goku, which at some point down the line, I will talk about either of those two characters, maybe even my favorite character, Piccolo. But for now, when it comes to Roronoa Zoro, ironically enough, I did gravitate towards that character near the beginning of One Piece. I really did. I liked his attitude. I liked the way he trained. I wanted to train as much as he did, and, well, that's kind of physically impossible, as you know. And honestly, I don't know what it was, especially at the beginning of the Orange Town arc, I believe, and that's where Buggy first shows up. It's his mentality, it's his, of course, the swordsmanship, his fighting style. It's sick. It's fighting with three swords, and of course it's been expanded upon over the thousands of chapters, over the thousands of episodes of One Piece, and seeing Kinyu, the live-action actor, my favorite version of Zoro, to be honest, is no offense to the voice actors from the original anime. I enjoy them. Heck, I like Christopher Sabat. He plays Vegeta. He plays Piccolo, two of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. And the original actual Japanese actor, who's great, I enjoy his voice acting as well. But personally, for me, this person that's really been able to embody that character's mentality in real life is probably Kinyu. Because from what I can tell from certain pictures and stuff, like, people even pointed this out, like, he's actually a little bit more toned, a little bit more muscular than usual, which means he's actually taking more time to train, he's pushing himself, and honestly, that's what I want to do for myself. That's what I want to do to kind of help myself move forward, and that's what I'm going to do today, and work on my diet and stuff like that, but also on top of learn the discipline. And this specific Bible verse that kind of goes along with Zoro's discipline, that I genuinely think it goes along well. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. However, for some, there is a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who are trained by it. And that's Hebrews 12:11. And 13 and 14 say something along the lines of train your feeble arms and your weak knees so the lame may be healed. But that's more so also talking about more spiritual training, but that's not necessarily what we're talking about today. But when it comes to Roronoa Zoro, it's discipline. That's who he is. It's discipline. It's constantly doing the things that you do not want to do to grow stronger, to grow better. And it's not just necessarily physically either, it's mentally. Because a lot of the time, when you go work out, when you go do the things that you don't want to do, that you know is going to help you, that's discipline. And realizing that it's always going to be like that. You're always going to do that. I'd imagine when we first see Kid Zoro start training, start pushing himself. He didn't want to do that as a little kid. He didn't want to do all that crazy stuff that he did, especially putting that rope in his teeth and using that to train his neck with the rock on the other end of the rope, man, nobody wants to get up and do that. But seeing a guy who absolutely is, as much as I hate it, obsessed, using that word, obsessed with getting better, swordsmanship-wise, it really encourages a guy like me to want to try more and more and more and more and more and more each and every day. And not just physically. Also, the character interactions that he has, with Luffy and Sanji and Nami and Usopp, Chopper, Frankie, and Robin later on. It's very interesting because you get to see more aspects of his personality here and there, with how focused he is on becoming the greatest swordsman. He kind of lacks in a lot of areas, and he seems more like an airhead, which is kind of interesting. And I feel like it's not necessarily a detriment, but it shows you how devoted he is to his main thing. And that's the swordsmanship, and that's taking the time. And one of my least favorite things about it is probably the alcoholism part of it. It's not my favorite thing, but I see why people, joke about it. It's not my thing. It's my least favorite aspect of what in there, and I'm glad they kind of don't really play into that all that much in the live action show. He just makes makes these remarks like, "Oh, I need a drink. I need to go get something to drink to get me away from these idiot people," or whatever. But I think one of the things that I enjoy about, I think the difference between anime Zoro and Makinyu Zoro is, and I'm not here just to glaze Makinyu Zoro, because it's like, some things aren't quite there yet. It still needs to bake in the oven, if you get what I'm saying. And the anime one, I feel like he has a little less personality, a little. There's still some aspects of himself in there, especially when it comes to getting the Sandai Katetsu for the first time. That shows you how not only devoted, but how crazy he can get. How willing he's being able to, willing to test his own strength, of course. And I hope they're able to recreate that in the live action for season 2. I really do. That's one of the other things I hope for. Really good interactions. Of course, meeting Tashigi for the first time. Captain Smoker being brought in. Man, this is going to be really, really good. And on top of, I want to see more training. I want to see more training on the ship. I want him to start using the weights on the ship soon. I know that's probably a little bit more later on down the line. For those of you who don't know, it's a bit of a spoiler, but the original Going Merry ship eventually does end up being damaged enough where it can't be used anymore, and they replace it with the Thousand Sunny made by Frankie later on. And the Thousand Sunny has a lot more access to a lot of different things, the gym room and stuff like that, which is great, or like a workout space, which is great. But I would honestly, if they could kind of call back to the Kid Zoro training, they make like makeshift workout equipment from like ropes and pulleys and stuff like that. Maybe even have him make his own, like, I don't know, what is it? Let's see, barbells with like a long stick and some crates at the end of it to do some squats or some hopping squats or something like that. I would really like to see that. But some of the other aspects that I really enjoy about Zoro is his humor. And I like the fact that they play into it a little bit more in the live action. Not to say anime Zoro is bland or boring. No, far from it. Heck, I enjoyed when Zoro was able to laugh a little bit more. I also enjoyed the fact that when certain things in the anime happen to Luffy, I like the fact that he starts to not necessarily lose himself, but start losing his smile a little bit more. And he starts hurting a little bit. He doesn't really show it, but he starts hurting a little bit. And especially the reaction to when Ace dies and him just, he doesn't cry, but you know he's hurt in the inside and realizing his captain's brother just died. And he can't do anything about it. He can't go over there and help him. In an aspect, I feel like, I don't think they really dive deep into it. It felt like, if they really did, they should have like this kind of thing in the back of his head if they get to the time skip. For McKinney, they should make him feel like, I just failed my captain. And now I've got to go push myself. So whenever I meet up with him next, I can be way better for him this time than I was previously. And then on top of, whenever Thriller Bark happens, that is going to be, man, I really hope they do well with that. Especially with Kuma. They got to do Kuma right. And that scene between him and Zoro is going to be really great. I personally see that, not only that Zoro in that moment is very devoted to his captain, but also devoted to his dream at the same time. And he knows with going with Luffy, he's going to be able to get there. And if Luffy strays away at some point and tries to make things harder for anybody else, he's got a say in it because he's the vice captain. He is the, I think they call him the first mate in the live action series, but I don't know. The vice captain is a very important role in One Piece, especially when it comes to Roger's crew and Rayleigh. Good grief. You can see a lot of parallels here and there, but there's also some here and there that are not quite there. You know what I mean? They're still separate characters. Both of them use swords to a degree. But with Rayleigh, I feel like you get more of a Obi-Wan-esque character. While you get, with Zoro, you get more of a, Han Solo-esque character mixed with, a Han Solo character mixed with a samurai of sorts, I guess. Because he doesn't have that, he has a kind of a smug personality, but it's like backed by his discipline, backed by being the guy that's always going to be there, which Han Solo has that, but that's a whole different story. But from what I can tell is, and goodness, I am like all over the place, but from what I can tell from the anime, you can see a lot of regret in some scenes, I guess, especially that one scene with Ace dying. And I don't know, I feel like they should have played into more of him feeling like a failure here and there, and that's why he kind of lost his smile of sorts. Although it kind of comes back later on in Wano, where he's learning about his, unintentionally learning about his family's country, because his family's from Wano, from what I understand. And I don't know, I don't just want to say I like Zoro because he motivates me to go to the gym. I want to say I like Zoro because he got me started on really wanting to not only develop myself as a human being and learn more discipline, but understand that there's a cost to being so disciplined that you start not taking care of yourself. Because a lot of the time, when it comes to Zoro, when it comes to being very reckless, and I think he's kind of learned through that in the time skip era, but it's like previous Zoro, he was very reckless. He didn't really take care of himself a lot of the time. Heck, I mean, arguably, he still kind of does that nowadays in the later parts of the anime as well, I'd argue, but excuse me, I got something in my eye. I don't know what it is. But I would also argue with him just learning more and more of these techniques. I guess I'll say this much. As he's learning more techniques, as he's learning this thing, as he's learning to master himself, he's starting to see the price of everything. He's starting to see what he needs to do, not only as the vice captain, the second in command, and be able to be Luffy's other wing, as they call him. They call him the wings of the Pirate King or something like that, or I don't know. And Sanji being the other one. And I mean, heck, I haven't even gotten into their interactions yet. And between him and Luffy, you can really tell there's a brotherly bond, especially when it comes to, like, trying to help him understand certain things, even though kind of doing it in a harsh way, calling him an idiot. What are you doing? Kind of have that really irritated sibling rivalry. Not rivalry, but kind of like older brother getting irritated by the younger brother and trying to help him see certain things. And I hope they do a little bit more of that, which you kind of see that in the live action. That's the one thing I feel like they still need to work on. Although near when he was going to fight Mihawk, which I gotta say this much, I think the live action Mihawk fight was cool, but it wasn't as good as the Mihawk fight from the anime, like genuinely. Although I will say, I do like the fact that they try to keep as much of the fight in there without Don Krieg being involved. Oh my gosh, this person backed up and almost backed in front of the truck here. Goodness. And when it comes to, how can I say this? When it comes to his interactions between, his interactions between Luffy and then Sanji, it's a whole different dynamic. It's not only like, I don't like this guy, I want to prove that I'm better than this dude. It's like this jock mentality. Nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm learned to get over the fact that, hey, some people have that mentality and there's nothing wrong with it. It's good to be competitive. And really, I'm going to be honest, with that competitive nature between those two, it actually created some sort of weird bond between him and Sanji. Like this brother-in-arms mentality that you really get to see expressed a little bit in Wano and a little bit in the Ring arc, which I haven't gotten to yet, which I need to. I've been spoiled a little bit of the series in each arc here and there, but I haven't really experienced all of it yet, and I actually want to right now. Manga-wise, I'm still at the Skypiea arc, and everybody says that's the best one, and I kind of want to see one of the earliest, best arcs, and I can't wait to see that. I need to go read it, I need to go find it, and finish that up. But I think from what I have enjoyed from Zoro is he's not really a stagnating character, but he's like a slow-growing character. You know what I mean? He kind of slowly grows over time. He becomes more and more of this character that a lot of people still enjoy. A lot of people don't enjoy because they feel like he's not really, he's still kind of the same guy that swings the three swords. I think genuinely, if people actually took a look at it, and I'm not saying he's the most perfect character. No. Far from it. He's not. Heck, I feel like a lot of the time, nowadays, he's mostly known for his fights. Which is kind of true for a battle shonen manga. But it's like, I feel like that's the same problem with Piccolo. Because a lot of the time, when you see a character like Piccolo or Zoro, a lot of the time they're determined by their fights their training montages, and their interactions with the main character, which is very interesting because if you look at the both of them, they're vastly different characters, but they have similarities. They're close to the main character. They kind of have this brother-in-arms relationship with another side character. Heck, I wouldn't even call Vegeta or Sanji a side character. I just call them main characters at that point because it focuses on everybody. I think the fact that there's a lot of similarities there, there's a lot of differences there, but there's also a lot of, how can I say this? There's a lot of similarities. And I find that interesting because, of course, Toriyama kind of helped progress shonen manga to where it is today, may he rest in peace, and influenced many other people, of course. And of course, before then, I forgot the name of the people that made it. Kinnikuman influenced Dragon Ball, which is very interesting, and I might end up talking about that at some point, which is, matter of fact, I'm going to kind of I will do a kind of a character discussion of that. I'm not too well informed here and there. I have watched a lot of the Kinnikuman Perfect Origin, so I think I might do something with that. I don't know, I might change my mind, I don't know. I might do another wrestler first. We'll see. I'm thinking of one that just won a world title recently, so. But back to the conversation at hand. I think with Zoro, what I hope to see is more of what's inside his head, how he find out some of the regrets he has, and have the price of discipline be there. Because the price of discipline is everybody's going to look at you crazy. Like you're devoting your time to this. Why? Why in the world would you devote your time to this? Because you might end up just not getting as strong as you want to be. Why would you devote your time to something that might even hurt you? And I would like to see the price of that. I want to see the price of discipline. And honestly, I think through the Mihawk fight in both the anime and the live action, you kind of see that price of discipline. And the fact of him saying something along the lines of a wound on a swordsman's back is like the highest shame or something like that. I'll have to look at it again. My apologies. I'm not good at remembering quotes here and there. I have to kind of write it down to go look at it. But pretty much saying a wound on the back is the swordsman's greatest dishonor or something like that. And I think the price of that is having other people match your skill and maybe even beat it. Especially when it came to the Mihawk fight. Everybody talks about it all the time. Everybody talks about that Mihawk fight. It's a fantastic fight. I get it. But that's not the point of the fight. It's not just a feat. It's a loss to teach Zoro, you still got more to go. And the fact, even Mihawk says it in the interaction. He says something along the lines of, I see the potential in you, so I will let you live. The fact that he even got a chance by the world's greatest swordsman, although it's starting to look less and less like he's the world's greatest swordsman, story-wise, he is. He's allowing him to live. And then later on, that same man he fought helped train Zoro. That just shows you the amount of respect that Mihawk has for his discipline. Because at one point, and I hope we do see it, Mihawk was like that once. He had to learn all that discipline. He had to learn everything. He had to do everything to get to that point. I genuinely hope we see a younger Mihawk at some point. Because we cannot just base everything off of others' feats. We got to have a character that's like, okay, I'm going to have a little bit of a rant myself. And everybody knows Mihawk was a cool hit character at the beginning, but then eventually kind of became this like looked down upon figure now. And shout out to the boy JD Legend for constantly just calling out this bullcrap, which is true. I genuinely think if this man's supposed to be the strongest swordsman, one of the greatest swordsmen here, why hasn't he not shown his strength yet? Why is he not there? I don't know. And then he'll probably get mad at me for glazing Zoro this whole time. He's not my favorite character. If I had to list my favorites, of course, number one, Ace. Second one, Nami. Third one, ironically enough, is kind of in between Zoro and Sanji. Frankie is my fourth because I like the goofiness he brings and the technology and the creativeness that he brings. And then 5, dang, that's a hard one. That's actually, I'll put Luffy there. I like Luffy. He's the main character. He's not my favorite, but I have respect for what he does. I like his character. I won't say I don't like his character. I like his character. I enjoy it. But I think what I hope to see for more nuance for Zoro. More humanity for Zoro, rather than just the feats, rather than just the fights. That's what I hope. Because we got a lot of those moments between some of the Straw Hats, especially with Robin finding out her giant friend from years ago was still alive, and then Frankie finding out Senior Pink's still alive. I'm not saying we need a whole crying session with Zoro like we did at the end of the Mihawk fight. I think we need to just have a heart-to-heart with him. That's what I would like to see. And then, of course, just build a better bond with everybody, more and more. And build that brotherly bond with Sanji a little bit more. And still kind of poke fun at each other and make jabs at each other. That's what I hope to see. And I really hope to not only see better techniques, but also give him show him a better reason for doing what he does. Having that price of discipline in there as well. Which I would really like to see McKinney's live action deal with that as well, but who knows? And I'm going to ask you guys this. What's your favorite aspects of Zoro? What do you enjoy? What do you don't like? More importantly, what do you hope to see for this character? Genuinely, I hope to see a lot more out of him. I really do. I really do. And I thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. I got to go get my dang workout in so I can hopefully catch up with McKinney at some point. I'll see you guys later. Bye.